Hello, everyone, and welcome back once more. We're going to talk today about the law of one. I can't believe actually we haven't talked about it before because it's so fundamental. Um, the law of one are basically what are called the Christos teachings, and you may also hear them referred to as the Essene teachings and the Nazarene teachings and all sorts of other words like that. But they literally are the fundamental principles that the angelic and the Christos races, all of the benign races of this galactic time matrix, adhere to, and they really are of the frequency of the source fields. They come from the source fields and hold the frequency of the source fields. And it's the law of unity. It's the law of love, and this whole time matrix, the structure, the galactic cosmic structure that we inhabit, was built with that energy, and that energy permeates everything in it. Now we obviously also have a counter energy to that is trying to work against it, but the human race, the this is where we came from. This is the energy we originated from. So understanding it and how we can apply this in our lives are going to get us back to who we really should be an awful lot faster, and who we were meant to be an awful lot faster. So, I mean, the law of one has been sort of promulgated since the very beginning of the inception of the galactic races, right from the Lyran timelines on down. The digression of the fallen races is because they have chosen to take themselves away from those teachings, and by detaching themselves from those teachings, they have detached themselves from the energy, the flows of energy that those teachings bring with them, and they have chosen what is the direct opposite of the law of one teachings, which is domination. It's control, it's power, it's, I trample on you to get to what I want, rather than I cooperate with you to create what benefits us all. And you'll hear Felix and me, we've talked at various points about, service to self and service to others. The law of one teachings are basically epitomized within the service to others ethos of the way we live, whereas the fallen races is very much service to self. Now, there are certain principles. These are sacred teachings, and they've been brought to the earth time and time and time again, wiped out or corrupted by the fallen races time and time and time again. Here we are once more. And if we think of the pure teachings of the Avatar Christ, that they're encapsulated within that. So, I mean, now we would call them the Christos teachings. But it's different to Christianity, very different to Christianity, which is a religion. And the teachings are it's sacred energy, really. They hold sacred energy and sacred flows of energy within them. So I'm going to hand over to Felix now, and he'll talk a little bit more about how we tune into them and work with them.
Sounds good. Yeah, thanks so much for that, Saira. That was lovely. Yeah, so the law of one teachings, I think the first thing that I want to say that this is kind of like a pathway of evolution. So when we kind of are working with these teachings, which is to basically encompass love, compassion for all and others, and really try and see beyond others' traumas and see their pain in order to kind of override your own kind of trigger points around that as well. This is when you were talking, what came to me was we all have skeletons in our closet, but sometimes they show themselves. And sometimes they show themselves. But this is what we're given as a choice to make a change, is by using the law of one teachings and to kind of step out of that and then relay them back in, as if we are treating ourselves as a person in front of us with that kindness and compassion. And then as we start doing that with oneself, this then expands to how we treat others as well. And it's kind of, they work hand in hand, really. It's not just a kind of you do it for one, you don't do it for all. It's a
Mhm.
natural progression to move into that behavior, because as you're kind of where you've gone through life and you've been drained of your energy, drained of your emotions, and really kind of stepped all over, filling yourself back up with these teachings is the way to kind of overstep uh, the old behaviors. I think that really is the most important thing to bear in mind with this.
Yeah, and there are certain principles, and I'm going to just big up myself very quickly here, but there's a chapter within Understanding Ascension that talks about the law of one teachings and goes into a bit more detail. But it
Mm-hmm.
begins with love yourself. You can't love anyone
Mm-hmm.
else if you don't love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The teachings of love your neighbor as yourself, do unto others as you would have done to you. I mean, they're very simple. We know them. We know them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's taking them into it's what the Roman Catholic Church would have one time called the virtues, the old-fashioned virtues. We live according to those, and we live according to our true template. Because when we step into that, it's like we step back into ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
The true humanity, true angelic humanity, is about community. It's about caring for others. It isn't about war. It isn't about division. It isn't about killing. We don't. It's not even about aggression. It's about working things out in cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
That's who we truly are. Now, we've been told time and time again that we're not that. And those are part of the false teachings. We are not sinful. We are not fallen. We
Mm-hmm.
have we have we have been digressed, but that's not been through our choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's been through infiltration and direct manipulation. So when we come back to who we truly are, when we can find that, when we can push through all of the layers that have been put on top of us and push back to what our heart truly believes, what
Mm-hmm.
our heart truly knows about us, that's when you can step back into actually embodying the law of one teachings. And it
Mm-hmm.
is that we live them.
Mm-hmm.
We don't go to church once a week and that's it, job done, we live them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next phasing of this, we'll be looking at this as conversion. It's a conversion tool. So when you are kind of faced with these points where your mood is really low and you're feeling very bleh, and you just don't really kind of want to communicate, or you don't have the energy to be nice, you can use them as a tool to convert that consciousness into a more high vibrational feeling, which actually starts to shift the subharmonic frequency of that aspect that's locked in a timeline that's feeling shitty.
Mm.
And that is a technical term. So as we kind of just want to stay professional here. So when we're feeling in that way, and then we're jumping or using the law of one as a tool to convert the consciousness, what I'm finding recently is I'll have these really thick, heavy memories from the past cropping up, where I'm then having to use them as a mantra. I am forgiving these people. I am understanding these people. And it does feel a bit silly at first, but gradually, as you become more adept and more used to using it, used to using the teachings, you're then able to kind of overstep the victimized side of you or the depleted side of you in order to regain your consciousness, regain your energy, and then you're able to look at the situation in a very different way.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it is, the flow of energy is there. It surrounds us. It's just
Mm-hmm.
waiting for us to tap into it.
Mm-hmm.
The Christ consciousness, the Christos flow of energies, um, uh, the love that permeates everything, the compassion that permeates creation. It's there, and we just have to tune into it. So again, when you're in a bad place, if you can begin to draw, open yourself and draw those energies in, it can shift these dark, dense energies very, very quickly. Because you
Absolutely.
are just, you're never alone, you're never apart, you're never separate, you're never unloved once you step into the flow of this energy.
And the interesting thing about that as well is that they heavily, heavily, heavily respect your free will to
Yeah.
experience.
Mm.
So they won't force it upon you.
Yeah. You
And
have to
this is the
choose.
tactic. You've got to choose
Mm.
to go there. You've got to choose to ask for it.
Yeah.
And through that choice, this then generates the manifestation of your reality. It shifts your reality to then experience something more blissful.
Mm.
And when you are heavily victimized or you're in a victim template mindset, it's quite hard to kind of pull yourself out of that.
Mm.
Because in that mindset, it doesn't necessarily want to get better because
No,
there
it
is some
doesn't.
level of kind of addiction within that as well, addiction
Mm.
to the feeling shitty and, not wanting to kind of,
And also it's,
you know,
it's not, if you're a victim, it's not my fault.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, there's the whole thing about, not wanting to step up and take responsibility. So I mean,
yeah.
that's just stuff you have to work through.
So when we start to call upon the Christos teachings, this is you being respected by your free will. You're having your free will respected. You are um, choosing to upfold your timeline, which is an evolutionary trajectory, which again is a choice. Um, Otherwise, we'd end up just staying in the lower
Mm.
field and just re-experiencing the same old shit over and over again, and it's just no fun. And I learnt that firsthand because I didn't realize that I had a choice before I kind of got on this journey. I didn't realize that I had a choice point for change. And I remember very distinctly the day that I got sober. Um, I remember saying that I do not want to be using drugs anymore. And as soon as I said that, I felt a big click, and all of my fields rapidly cleared.
Mm.
All of the information came out of my field. And for about 3 months, I didn't have a single craving. I didn't have a single drive. And that was the driving force that I needed to get sober.
Yeah.
And it was because they respected my free will to experience and to grow through it and to learn through it, which by that point I just wasn't learning anymore. I was just using and just being very destructive. Um, they respected me, and as soon as I said that I wanted to change, my God, they made it change.
Mm.
And that was because it wasn't serving me at all.
Mm. And it is, I mean, we can all say the words, oh, I want to change, oh, I've had enough of this. We can all say them, but you have to mean them. And
Mm,
it's when that intent comes to bear and you
mm,
say, help me,
mm,
mean it,
yeah.
you really mean it,
Mm,
they will step forward.
absolutely.
And
And
they will
it's,
take your hand, and as I say, you're never alone after that.
oh, absolutely, yeah. And I remember as well through that journey and experience, the kind of the paranoia, the breakdown, and all of that thing. It became a place where I kind of just surrendered my life to God. And when I did that, it was like I made the kind of agreement to just do with it what you will. Um, and that's when the teaching started to kind of come in and all the embodiment started to come in, which is now 7 years in the practice, but um, it accrues over time. And the more you come back to that original agreement that you make with the divine to surrender completely, this then shifts the whole narrative, and it becomes really, really easy. The whole
Mm.
thing becomes really easy because you're supported throughout everything.
Yeah.
Now, that was at the base level. The further down the line I go, the more I'm being reminded of free will and the fact I've got to ask for things now instead of being given things,
Mm.
because this makes you think. It makes you think in a very different way. Okay, well, what's going to be the best for me in this situation? What's going to be the best for the rest of them in this situation? And then you're starting to apply those Christos teachings into a unified perspective, a unified thought form, that is, you are an extension of the rest. They are an extension of you. How is it going to impact those around you? Now, some days you will feel really shitty, technical term again, and you will lose your shit and blow up. And
Mm.
that's perfectly normal. It's perfectly fine. But these are the
Being
points where
human.
being human,
Mm.
yeah, these are the points when those tools come in once again to be used as a compassionate reason. And like I said at the start, is take yourself out of the body, look at you in front of you, and start to give that you healing. And this is also a perfect tool to develop your clairvoyance as well, to be able to see yourself externally. And it also builds the neutral observer as well.
Mm.
So multiple things in one. I
Mm.
think I've, yeah.
There's just one thing I want to sort of say is that there is a book called The Law of One, The Teachings of Ra out there. I am wary of this because Ra is another name for Marduk, who is an
Okay.
Anunnaki being. So, but there is also a Ra Confederacy, which is a gestalt of gold order consciousness. So are these teachings? I will be honest with you, I have picked the book up. I do have it in my library here. I have picked the book up and put it down on various occasions because I am not drawn to it. There's something about the energy of it that doesn't pull me in, which is why I give you this word of warning, really. If those of you are familiar with that book, they're channeled teachings. You always have to be a little wary at that level of what you're channeling. As I say, it could be that it's this high gestalt, or it could be that it's Anunnaki trickery. And there's been plenty of that, particularly at the beginning of the New Age. They got in very quickly and they took over various channels and fed information into the collective. So I'm not going to tell you it's good. I'm not going to tell you it's bad. You've got to make your mind up about that. But just be very aware that that the being Ra, it could be an Anunnaki trickery. Because
Okay.
the Law of One, I mean, the true teachings of the Law of One are so uplifting. I just talking to you about it, I can feel my
Mm,
field just opens and expands. And, I just made my day just by talking to you about it because it just fills me with such energy. And that will stay with me.
mm,
And it doesn't make you feel bad about yourself. It doesn't make you wicked or sinful or hate yourself at any level. Quite the opposite.
mm,
And this is who you truly are. I'll
mhm.
finish here, but this is who
Yeah.
you truly are.
Yeah.
Absolutely, truly are. Beneath all of the layers and the things that have been laid on you, this is your true self. So find it, tap into it, grow it, expand it.
Absolutely. All right then, guys. Loads of love. Hope you have a great day. And if you like this content, give us a like and a subscribe, and I'll leave Sarah's details down below. Loads of love, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.